Some suggestions the country's taste buds could take a bit of a hit if the government's changes to immigration rules make it harder for restaurants and cafes to hire staff from overseas. An explosion in New Zealand's culinary scene in recent years means the Kiwi diet has expanded well beyond the classic meat and three veg, fish and chips and pies. When we used to go to the Kimbu restaurant in Courtney Place when I was a kid, you got thin slices of white bread, buttered. But as Sarah Robson reports, many of the country's top restaurateurs fear the government's changes will leave them short-staffed and lacking the necessary expertise to keep serving up interesting, innovative, international dishes.
Sid Saharavit owns two top Auckland restaurants, Siddhat and Cassia. He employs 40 staff and just 4 of them are from New Zealand. Mr Saharavit says it's already difficult to get good staff locally, with many highly trained New Zealand chefs and other hospitality workers opting to head offshore.
But that's what happens, and then we just can't find enough people, whether it's front of house or kitchen. It's a constant battle to get people who are driven and passionate about hospitality.
Under the changes announced by the government earlier this month, there will be a higher salary threshold for people applying for visas in the skilled migrant category, something that's causing the most concern for the hospitality industry. Sid Saharavit says the government should be cutting back the red tape and making it easier for business owners to hire and keep migrants on staff.
It's already hard enough for us to kind of try and renew someone's visa or time in a restaurant. And to make it even harder, I think it's going to be very challenging for any restaurant or cafe owner in the country.
Sid Saharavit says they also need to hire chefs with particular skills and expertise. At Cassia, they serve modern Indian.
It's a very skilled kind of job, especially on the clay oven. It's a bit like a sushi chef, who trains for years and years before he gets really good at what he does. And the same thing, we need people like that to be coming from India.
Lorenzo Breslin, who with his brother Leonardo owns something of a food empire in Wellington, with 2 restaurants, the Breslin and Scopa, and a couple of takeaway pizza joints and a coffee roastery. He says about 30 to 40% of their staff are from overseas.
We've done a lot of work with developing the local talent, but we still very much rely on these imports that come here and fall in love with our culture and with our people, and it's really sad when they need to go or they are not allowed to stay.
And Lorenzo Breslin says there are benefits to having such an international workforce.
Hospitality looks after everyone, the locals, the tourism market, the visitors, the travellers, and it's incredible having bilingual staff, being able to host international guests and make them feel at home and guide them through the experience.
Lorenzo Breslin says there's also a risk New Zealand's tastes could become a little blander if restaurants become less diverse.
Now, on a culinary level, New Zealand has been sort of years behind what's even happened in Australia, let alone what happens in the Northern Hemisphere. So we'd probably only end up slowing that development down further if we were going to, keep our minds and our palates expanding with, these humble visitors that fall in love with our nation and want to, help us develop.
Laura Werner from Pasture, a small fine dining restaurant in the Auckland suburb of Parnell, says they've struggled to find staff with the necessary international training and experience. She knows they're not alone, and with new places opening up all the time, there is a critical shortage in Auckland. And they too have had staff who have had to leave their jobs because their visas haven't been able to be renewed.
Just recently we had one of our key staff members just turn up with a letter from immigration, and it was just absolutely devastating. The impact that it has on really small businesses is really huge. And I feel like hospitality does add so much to what New Zealand has to offer.
The Restaurant Association says it has raised the hospitality industry's concerns with Immigration New Zealand. For Checkpoint, call Sarah Robson, Aho.